Hi, I'm Michael Redden, and this is our second video in the overview of the probate process kind of series. As you remember, last time we talked about filing that petition, gathering all the assets together, and filing out your notices so you can finally get ready to administer the estate. Now we're going to talk about administering the estate itself. Now, initially, except for some family allowances that the family can get so they can live on, and maybe some assets that are exempt from probate that they get just as claim and keep, you're not going to really want to be giving out any money to the heirs quite yet. Unfortunately, that is the case. What you're going to be waiting to find out is how many different creditors are going to come forward and give you a claim. It's going to be your job to look at these, make sure that they kind of proved it up, do some negotiations, and try to settle those things. We'll have a separate video that goes a little bit more into these kind of things in detail. But the important thing to remember is that if you give money out to the heirs and there is a valid creditor that comes through, and now because you gave the money out to the heirs, the creditor can't be paid, you have to go get that money back from the heirs. If it's gone, now that bill that was the dead person's, it's your bill. You've got to pay for it. So what we're going to do is we're going to find those, and after we've found all these together, we're also going to start calculating taxes. We're going to have that accountant kind of draw up some tax returns. There's going to be the last year of life's tax return. There's going to be the tax return for the estate's income taxes. And then there are going to be tax returns for the death taxes if they're due. And sometimes even when death taxes aren't due, we're still going to file that return so we can let them know their tax basis for the assets we're going to handle in the heirs. And so that if there's any exemption we want to pass on to the surviving spouse, we want to do that. That's called portability. That's a topic we can cover a little bit later, but as of the recording of this video, each person give about 11 million out without paying estate taxes. And if you don't use all that, say you passed away and you only had 1 million there and there was 10 million left of exemption, you could give that to your spouse, and then that spouse can pass on 21 million without paying death taxes. That's kind of why that's important. And you also want to document a basis, because let's say you had a house and you bought it at $30,000 of value, but when that person passed away, it was worth $200,000. You want to document that, so if the heir goes and sells it and gets $250,000 for it, they don't have to pay taxes on that $50,000 later on, rather than pay taxes on $220,000. These things are important. And why am I pointing those out? Because you're also responsible that all the taxes get done. If the taxes don't get done and paid, or things are done incorrectly, that's going to become your problem, and you're going to have to pay for it. So definitely make sure you have good lawyers and you have good tax accountants that are helping you. So once you've gathered everything together, you've gotten all the creditors' claims, you've decided which ones should be paid, or you've negotiated the other ones down. You've gotten the tax returns ready and things. You know what the liabilities are probably going to be for the tax returns. Then, when you're in informal probate, you start paying them, and you start after that. After you pay taxes and creditors, you start giving the money out. In formal probate, you can kind of move towards that area as well. If it's a supervised probate, though, you've got to go back to the court, tell them what you're doing, and get a court order allowing you to distribute these things. Then you go back, you distribute these things, you pay the debts. You wind those things down. Those can take some time, especially if you're getting rid of or selling real estate. This stuff can take time. Once it's all done and you've paid all creditors, you've handed out all the money and things that are there, and you've accounted for those things, you have to close the estate. And the way that you close the estate in informal probate, you're going to put a statement in there that's going to have things closed. For formal probates, you have the option to go in and put an actual final account in, which is usually a good idea, where you say, hey, court, here's everything I did, every dollar and cent, just like you were doing books for your business, you're going to do books for the estate, so everyone knows where things are going. You've got all the receipts, so there's no question about where everything went. Then when all that stuff is done, the estate is closed, and you'll be discharged as the personal representative. Your duties are now done. It's the family's taken care of, all the assets are out, probate is done, and everyone can move on. But you really have to go through each of these steps. Remember, it can take a year or more, and it can take a little bit of time because you have to do appraisals, you have to find things, you have to negotiate with heirs, negotiate with creditors. But as you can see, it's a process that's not really scary. There are some pitfalls. It's just got a little bit of steps to go through. And when you really think about it, these are the steps you'd want folks to go through. You'd want someone to come forward, take an inventory of everything. You'd want someone to make sure they followed the will and passed things out. You want the debts to be paid, the taxes to be paid. You don't want years down the road for lingering debts and things to come back for you, because you bought life insurance and you wrote your will and you gave these things out to take care of people. And those really have to be done correctly, because believe it or not, there are predators out there that'll come out and try to take advantage of people in probate. And that's why you're there as a personal representative. That's why the court's there if you need them. But you really should have good advisors helping you go through there, a good accountant, and a good lawyer at the least. So if you are a personal representative, I hope these 2 videos helped you with your role in probate, so you kind of know where to go with it. And you should not delay. You should get started. You should start bringing those things together and get that petition ready. If you'd like me to help with that, just contact me at the link below, and I'll be happy to talk to you about it.